Watch it all burn down at the Domination Matrix. And welcome to a very special premiere episode of the Domination Matrix podcast. I am your host, Jeff Berg, and with me is my co-host, the brilliant Trashfire.
Hi guys, I'm trashbag.jpg, otherwise known as Keely.
We're very excited for today's podcast because we have just launched our super awesome, amazing, trend-setting, market-destroying podcast, which is not a podcast, stream event for our channel, The Domination Matrix. Can you give me a round of applause? Thank you very much. Yay, very nice. Keely.
Yes.
We have done the unimaginable. We have taken a group of your ragamuffin friends and have turned them into major podcast stars. We have contracts from Disney, from Apple, and from Microsoft. Can you believe it?
Those are false statements, Jeff. I feel like we shouldn't lie to our audience.
Well, then you've come to the wrong place. So, Keely, what is the Domination Matrix for those who are brand new to this in your idea of it? What is it?
Domination Matrix is basically an all-encompassing media channel. We do podcasts, we do YouTube, we do streams.
We do romance.
We do romance.
Eventually.
We do long walks on the beach.
We do everything you could possibly think of to get monetized and stay monetization happy. So, in the Domination Matrix, the Domination Matrix is all about creating and making the best you possible. It is about, quote, quote, dominating your life with love and liberty and happiness.
Success.
And success. And encouraging others to live their best life and to help others do the same thing. That is truly at the heart of the mission of Domination Matrix. But what are we starting with?
Well, right now we're starting with a YouTube channel, a Twitch channel, Patreon, all the social media you could think of, and podcasts.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to probably explain who we are.
Yeah.
I am considered a millennial, but barely. I was born in '84. I was raised in Texas, but born in Nebraska, so I have no identity. And now I live in Utah, which makes me have even less identity. And over the years, I've learned the principles of business and real estate and financial advising all the way up to today, which I'm a day trader and finishing a master's degree. But I decided this idea a long time ago where I wanted to help people achieve their dreams. After the market collapse, I don't know, 10 years ago now almost? Well, maybe not quite that long. No, maybe longer. What was it, 2007? How many years is that?
That would be 13.
Oh my gosh, I'm really great at math. 13 years ago, the world was turned over. We had been living like kings, and all of a sudden, the economy dried up, which is a cycle that happens periodically. But at the time, there were a ton of unemployed people, and so I actually started my first business as a job consultant, where I would just help people look for work. I saw that there were a lot of people unemployed, and I did my best to help them. And so that's really how the genesis of how this started. However, fast forward to many years later, the idea never really took off. It was growing, it was building. How could I create Berg Enterprises or Domination Matrix? What does it mean? What is it truly about? And then finally I meet Keely.
Hi. That's me.
So Keely, how did this thing get started? How did we do it?
So, well, one day we were at the gym, I think, and we started talking about doing a project together because we had done a couple things here and there, and we'd only known each other for like how many months before that?
Not very long. I think, well, maybe close to a year, but off and on.
Yeah. And then so we're at the gym and we start talking, and we started talking about YouTube ideas, and we're like, oh, it'd be really funny if we did this Old v New series is one of our series you can find on YouTube once we upload that. But we started talking about it, and then Jeff tells me that he's always wanted to kind of do a kind of entertainment thing. And so we started actually doing it, and he told me about all of his ideas that he's had in the past, and I contributed my talents, and we ended up recruiting a bunch of my friends and my brother and one of his friends.
And that's kind of amazing how really the first day of this entire thing, I had just told her my dream or vision of Domination Matrix and how I want to use it as a platform to share our knowledge as to, how to create a better world or a better life, starting with the person. And then as I was talking to Keely just ran away with the logo and the banner, and I didn't even know she was really doing it. And she called me into the room, and she said, "Here, what do you think about this?" And it was perfect. It was everything that I had kind of like hoped and dreamed, but I'm not an artist, not even close. So I never was really able to put it on paper. And then when she created it, it was perfect. I mean, what was your inspiration for that alone?
So before that, we had been talking about kind of what Jeff saw as like the image, and he told me a bunch of things like, oh yeah, I want it to be kind of Star Trek-y, but with that Tony Stark vibe. And so I'm like, yes, I'm following. And so I looked at those logos, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of sharp things happening here.
A lot of rock and roll and passion and power. And I've subjected her to Star Trek a few times, but the good ones, the old ones.
It's not good.
And definitely the good ones. And but she ran with it, and then it was perfect. I mean, in fact, it was like almost brought a tear to my eye because I was like, I can't believe this thing is real. I mean, it's real. And from that moment, that's when it grew.
Yeah. And then so for a while it was just us two. And then Jeff started asking like, hey, do you have any friends with actual talents? And I was like, yeah, maybe I have 2 or 3. And so we started talking about them, and then he was like, hey, what can your brother do? And so
it's fascinating, the generation of people that we have here. I mean, these teens in some ways grew up with tools that I didn't grow up with. The internet was still kind of new, and computers were still kind of new as far as like commercialized. So these kids, I mean, are now becoming young adults, and they know everything about, I say everything, meaning way more than me, about design and special effects and drawing and editing, which things I've only ever touched on over the years. And she had this crew already compiled. Loyal followers who actually have really fun and quirky personalities. And then the Domination Matrix was born. We will probably go into this later, but Keely, before we leave, since this is just an introduction to us, what do you want to see from this thing? Like, where do you want this to go? What do you want?
I'd really love to see the Domination Matrix kind of become like a safe place for people where they can go and find entertainment or advice, whatever they're looking for. And I'd like to see people, I really like to be one of those people who I can say confidently that I've helped people with this work, and I'd love to be able to see that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's such a provocative name. We've had so much pushback on it, but I knew it was the name that I wanted for years and years. And actually, it being provocative is part of who I am by nature, in a kind way, in a loving way. But I also push people to challenge themselves and be better. It's funny because one of our associates, Mandy, do you want to tell that story about her parents?
Oh, so all the rest of our crew, we're a bunch of Gen Zs, and so one of our crew, Mandy, she goes home and she tells her parents about it. And her dad freaks out because he looks it up, and instead of finding Domination Matrix, he finds the Matrix of Domination, which you can look up if you want more detail. But basically...
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was a thing at all.
It's a study about white supremacy.
Yeah.
And so we thought that we were like, oh no, we're going to have a problem with that. But then we just thought it might be kind of fun to kind of take that name for ours. We make it about...
it's actually the reverse of that. In fact, it's all about, Domination Matrix is really about the self and empowering the self of all people, of all classes, of all genders and creeds. It doesn't matter. I believe that self-sufficiency, strength, and sacrifice are universal languages. So it's actually the opposite. But continue, finish the story, and then we'll get out of here.
Oh, well, basically, her dad went on and on about how, I don't want you to be the face of a channel, of something that stands for that, and it just was kind of funny because we stand for the only thing in your way is you, rather than blaming everyone else for everyone's problems. And so that's just something we really want to take back.
I think it's kind of hilarious. I mean, in fact, that response really motivated me even further. That we definitely need to get in people's faces and say the domination matrix is here to stay. It's going to be in your homes. It's going to be in your eyes, and we hope you enjoy it. But I guess that does it for our first little initial podcast. Look forward to these once a week. They'll get better and longer and more interesting as the audience grows and changes. And we'll talk about a variety of issues, from self-improvement to video games and stuff like that.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, hey, thank you so much for listening. And please like and subscribe and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.